Hi, I'm Lance Price. I direct the Antibiotic Resistance Action Center. And today I want to talk about antibiotic use in animals, antibiotic-resistant infections in people, and how we can protect ourselves in the kitchen. So antibiotic-resistant bacteria, or superbugs, are just bacteria that are resistant to our best antibiotics. And in fact, today there are some bacteria out there that are resistant to all of our antibiotics. Now, those superbugs come about because of antibiotic use. And I think we're used to thinking about antibiotic overuse in hospitals, but it turns out that we use a lot of antibiotics in animal production. And what that does is fuels the growth of drug-resistant bacteria in those animals, and then those bacteria can contaminate meat that we bring into our houses. And when we have those drug-resistant bacteria in our house, we can be at risk for infections by those bacteria. So today I just want to go over a few tips, simple tips in the kitchen that can protect you and your family. So now I'm going to talk about some things to keep in mind when you're in the grocery store. So one of the first things that you can do to protect yourself is make sure that your meat doesn't leak onto the other things in your grocery cart, because you don't want meat juice on your lettuce, do you? So the newer packaging is pretty good about this, so that raw chicken juice doesn't drip into your cart. But sometimes I want to buy things from the meat counter and interact with that butcher, right? And when they actually get the meat, they're going to package it into this old paper, and this is where you can have leakage. And so you want to make sure that you take that and put it into a second bag and go ahead and seal that up before you put it into your cart. The other thing to keep in mind in the grocery store are labels. And labels can get a little busy, but there are a few important things that you should keep in mind. Sell-by dates are really important, so you should make sure that you're buying these products while they're fresh and before that date. But when it comes to antibiotic resistance, the labels you should be looking for are labels like this: no antibiotics ever administered, or no antibiotics ever. So I'm a kitchen geek. I like lots of tools in the kitchen, but of all the tools that I have, I think the faucet's the most important. It's because you should be washing a lot of things often when you're handling meat. You should be washing your cutting boards, your knives, your countertops, and especially your hands. And a lot of people ask me, well, shouldn't I be washing my meat too? And it's logical that you maybe want to wash off the bacteria from the meat. But actually what you do when you do that is you spread bacteria all over the place. So don't wash your meat, just put it right into the oven or into the oil. But let's get back to washing our hands, because it turns out this thing that we've been doing all our lives is not totally simple, because you're supposed to be doing it for 20 seconds. Vigorously for 20 seconds. So lots of soap, lots of nice warm water, and scrub away. Properly cooking meat can kill bad bacteria, but there are other things that we should think about in the kitchen when we're preparing meat. One of the first things to think about are the cutting boards and your knives. You want to make sure that you're using a special cutting board just for your meat, and you use different cutting boards for your vegetables. So when you're handling raw meat, you've got to be aware of your hands, you've got to be aware of your equipment, right? So I really like cutting boards with a big groove around them, because it's a place for the juice to go and it doesn't contaminate the countertops. And so you want to cut these things open carefully and make sure that you're not stabbing yourself, obviously. But then be really aware of the knife and your hands after you've opened this package, because once it's open, those bacteria are free, right? And so you see this juice dripping out. This is a potential way of getting infected. So when you're handling raw meat, remember those bacteria and make sure you keep those away from these. So you want a separate cutting board, separate knives if you've got them, and as much space as you can get. By following those simple tips, you can prepare a meal for yourself or for your whole family in a way that keeps everybody safe. So from all of us at the Antibiotic Resistance Action Center, choose well, prepare safely, and be healthy.